Hello everyone, and welcome back to Whistling in the Dark. I am Captain Logan.
And this is day 3.5 of Whistling in the Dark.
They Might be Giants a year, and he might be the Geoff.
I might be the Geoff.
Today we're talking about an album
Doom!
that is only sort of an album. It's Miscellaneous T.
It's a Doom's album.
And there's so much stuff here that is not anywhere else on regular albums that we have to cover it. And it also, I think, it sounds really cool as a piece in and of itself. As I said last episode, I think this album kind of fits really well wedged in between Lincoln and Flood. And even though it technically comes after it, it obviously has a lot of sounds and is the kind of production you had in the Lincoln days versus Flood.
See, I would say it fit pretty well between Flood and Apollo 18.
Sure.
For the same reasons, really.
Well, but Flood is a better produced album.
Yeah, true.
So I'm just saying it does feel like you're going backwards a little bit.
Of more and more production values.
Yeah, and it's because you are going backwards because you're listening to things that they had already put out before Flood came out.
Either things that they had already put out or things that they had already written.
Yeah, but I think most of this are B-sides that had been released.
That was the idea.
On other things. Yeah, and there are a couple of tracks that we'll be talking about today that we already have listened to, but there's just a slightly different version on this, and stuff that I wasn't savvy enough when I was a teenager to understand the differences between. And a lot of it's really subtle stuff, like especially when we get to like Hotel Detective, where it's just added reverb and stuff.
Yeah, stuff you wouldn't just hear.
But this album has my favorite TMBG song. All time. It sure does.
Cool.
And I'm very excited to get to it. I'm not going to reveal it yet. Do you know what it is?
I don't.
Do you have an idea? Okay,
It does have one of mine.
It has my definitive one.
One of my top 300 Giant songs.
And I will not be... Yeah, and if that sounds like a big number, just remember, the repertoire is insane. But, yeah.
Melody, fidelity, quantity.
Are you just going to keep saying that like it's... You sound like you're writing a textbook on...
It's like the slogan under the heading of the page.
Yeah, or like the TMBG Boy Scouts or something. Like, those are the three things you have to have.
Melody, fidelity, quantity.
Okay, so he's just going to keep making up good things that sound good on T-shirts, and I'm going to talk about Miscellaneous T. So
awesome!
Let's go ahead and get into it.
I didn't make that up.
We will, once again, put a link in the description so that you can listen to this along with us, and we're treating these sort of like commentary, so we're going to be listening to the tracks and talking about them as much as we can for as long as we're able to in the couple of minutes to sometimes just a few seconds that the track times allow. Oh man, that was so annoying. I was like, and it's done. I can't even talk about minimum wage. It's over. And then we had to spend half of Letterbox talking about minimum wage.
They're always cutting your hours. That's the problem.
Yeah. It's just that metaphor even fit with what was going on, with how we had to talk about it. That's real. It's real meta, Geoff. Okay, let's go.
Metaphor.
Let's go ahead and get into it, shall we? Let me just get mine set up real quick. And 1 second. Stop it.
I keep forgetting they can't actually hear this part.
They can't hear this part. Here we go. Everybody, please press play. Make sure you're on the first track, Hey Mr. DJ. I thought you said we had a deal. And press play right now. Wow, I haven't heard that any of those in a really long time. So, one of the things that's odd about DJ is that the title isn't shortened in any way. Hey, Mr. DJ, I thought you said we had... I don't know why the title is that lengthy.
Yeah. I like this song. I really like this song.
It's like a TOS episode.
The world is hollow, and I have bribed a DJ.
I like this a lot, too, because the first time I heard it, I thought maybe it was supposed to be, like, biographical.
Yeah,
and it's not. But I kind of like that it's the story of so many bands of that era getting taken advantage of by some bigwig at
Yeah, it's like somebody at a radio station. You're a band. You want to get played, and you end up getting played in the other sense.
That's right. Yeah, with the kind of smarmy used car salesman kind of mentality.
And we suspect that this has actually happened once or twice in real life in the music industry. They called it payola.
This is a weird song in that it's not talked about and loved as much as I would think it would be.
Maybe because a band writing a song about payola is just a little uncomfortable.
Yeah, fair enough. But again, it's a super, super catchy song.
But yeah, it's what the Giants do so well. Write a song about something kind of serious and sort of depressing, really.
Yeah.
And make some really catchy, fun music.
Yeah, and I love doing that in the industry that you're in, where you could let that kind of thing, like, quelch your entrepreneurial spirit or whatever, and not want to, like, it's shattering disillusionment.
Yeah.
And they write a really fun, catchy song about, it's sort of like when a
colossal mess they made.
It's sort of like when a studio film talks about all the problems in the film industry that make it difficult to make the kind of film they're making.
Yeah. And just their lyrical way of approaching that in the refrain, I thought, they said, think long-term investment, and that all the others had forgiven themselves.
Yeah.
Like, we're not glossing over anything here.
You scratch my back, I'll scratch your record. I always thought that was a really clever line. Are you aware that this, and again, I feel like this ought to be a better remembered song than it is. Are you aware that the Giants never played this song live until 2008?
I did not know that. Oh, I don't know why maybe they didn't like it.
I also wanted to mention, I said last
there's no
video,
reason in my mind this couldn't have been on an album.
I mentioned the last video that I would bring up the Beatles here. They've got the callback thing that the Beatles sometimes did, where they reference their own songs, kind of like creating a continuity. Onion. Yeah. Inside this song, so Chesby's face, and it's a really appropriate place to do that, of course, because and again, part of why I thought maybe it was autobiographical, because you're talking about the songs we've heard already being played on the radio,
and all these are actually characters, and they're sitting there listening to the radio, just waiting for the song to come on, like waiting for the thing that's about them to actually show up as promised,
and that creates this kind of fun cartoon image, because you already have like an image in your head of what Rabbit Child looks like, of what Chesby's face looks like, and you've got this really kind of nice continuity being built, which is kind of amusing and almost ironic, being on the first track of a B-sides album. That might be...
It's another guy who did that a lot.
Okay. That might be a song that wasn't released anywhere before this, I'm not sure. I didn't double check and see which ones were and which ones weren't.
So here's the cover.
Yeah, this is Lady Is a Tramp. I never hear Lady Is a Tramp in this. Like, it's a cover, and I can't find it, and it makes me feel like an idiot.
That is the tune.
Okay, I guess so. I guess it's just that, like, the lyrics aren't there anywhere, and even in the melody. But no, you're right.
Yeah, it's an instrumental. It's like what jazz groups do.
That's true. It would be really easy to pretend like this was another... But it would be so easy to pretend like this was another song and give it a different title, too.
Yeah, they could have done that. They wouldn't have gotten away with it.
Yeah, that's fair.
Because it is a legit song. Ella Fitzgerald has probably the best known recording of it. I think it's a Cole Porter.
But yeah, it's a really subtle cover.
Cover.
It doesn't sound like a cover. I mean, even though that melody's there, but it just sounds like another Giant song. And again, they're so good at making things sound like they came up with it, even if they didn't. So I guess that makes that our second cover.
Birds Fly.
I love Birds Fly.
This is among my favorites.
And now we're getting into their straight up, strictly kind of jazzy things.
And this is also...
This should have been on Lincoln. I've always thought that.
It's so linnal.
Like pick a like a track spot. You could fit this so easily into Lincoln with all the other jazzy stuff we're doing there.
Best intentions. Oh yes. It would make a good companion to Kiss Me, Son of God.
It would, which is also
it's about kind of a villain.
Which is also here.
Yeah, true.
It's interesting, and I think I like this version better. But it's interesting that you say this is so little because it is. But that's Flanzy singing the main.
Is it?
Yeah. Now listen to it. That's Flanzy.
Yeah, I'll buy it.
Little's in the background.
No.
He's not overlaying himself. That's Flanzy doing the main melody.
Huh.
I'm almost positive.
Yeah, I can buy that.
And you can hear Little doing the harmonies in the background
on several tracks because there's more than one part.
Well, yes, one of the, you're right. They are overlaying. That's true. That is a song I always thought you guys should have covered when you had a jazz group. You guys really should have done that.
Yeah. So here,
Geoff used to do an acapella.
Yeah.
Was that entirely acapella, or did you guys sometimes have keyboards?
At first, we used keyboard a little bit, but we got away from that because it's too much of a pain.
They had an old group called they had a group called Glass Coffee Table back in the mid 2000s, and you did some weird off the beaten path stuff like that. You guys could have done something giants.
We could have.
So this is the World's Address Joshua Fried remix.
This is beautiful.
It goes on too long. It's 5 minutes long.
It's too short, man. I want this to last longer.
This is before the days where remixes were all the rage, and
Yes.
we did this kind of thing all the time. And when sampling was everywhere, and I mean, you got that was real early '90s. We were doing that all over the place. This is a track that could not exist in 1987. This has to be 90, 91, 92. It's in that. It's in that kind of period.
Yeah, it's a technology issue.
Yeah,
as much as anything else. But
and just the sounds that were then, because of the technology becoming really popular, everybody was using them.
I loved this because
you have to have MC Hammer before you can have this song.
I'm not going to touch that. I love this because it, for the first minute or so of it,
you don't even know what it is.
A completely different thing. It says it's a remix of one song, but it's a completely new construction on its own and in its own right. And then bits of the World's Address finally get layering into it. Even there, we get the hook.
And it's kind of a fun, almost rave club type song.
Yeah.
Like you could see this in a nightclub. And we've lost our music for some reason. Hold on. Okay. We're gonna start this track over. Sorry about that, Geoff. Because I don't know how else to sync up. That's problematic. This is the only problem with relying on being online, but it's just the easiest way to deal with it, to do it.
If it works. Let me see.
No, it's true.
Oh man, but I don't have this album complete or in order on the pod.
Well, that wouldn't help anyway, because I don't have any way to link that to that. I mean, I guess I can put this in that. I guess that would work. Yeah, that's true. Come to think of it. Yeah, that would work. Anyways. Well, part of the reason that I did it this way instead of putting this in the phone in the first place was just so that I could look things up if I needed to. That was the main reason I was doing this remotely. But,
of course, the front end of this song, we were still finishing talking about the last thing.
Yeah, so that's really problematic. I want to think about this, see if I can just do some math or something. Because it cut off about 2:14, and if I just started it there and spliced it together and just knew that,
oh, that's true.
Then I might be able to do that math and fix it. I've done that.
Can get it to play, and then we'll just not say anything until after the vocals have made their first couple of appearances.
No, that's not the way we do that. We just start at 2:14 and start talking again.
Oh, well, we can do that.
And then I splice it together in post. I've done this before with commentary tracks.
Okay.
Doesn't always line up the best, but
I haven't.
But we can. Yeah, no, sure. But just for myself later on, 2:14, splice that together.
Myself.
Okay, here we go. Oh, hold on.
Do the dumb things
Jason?
I gotta do.
Jason goes touch the puppet head. And now.
Couldn't sleep last night.
So, one of the things that's really interesting about this remix is that it manages is that they didn't use any samples that already existed. This Joshua Fried guy made all of this just for this.
Yeah.
And you think he'd be pulling from other random things, and that kind of it ends up sounding like the Giants could have made it.
Yeah, it's like Flan's Dimension 2.
But yeah, to my earlier point, it really does sound like something that could just be playing at a nightclub.
Yeah.
And then but the problem with that, of course, is that people at nightclubs keep stealing my ideas, Geoff.
Yeah.
As someone at a nightclub.
There's a pair of eyes in the back of your head.
Here is it. Someone at a nightclub has stolen my ideas. I think we talked over it. A man of cultural reference. Yeah, I was trying to reference the song, Geoff. Let me ask you a question. Do you like this song more now than you maybe used to because you've gotten so into like weird remixes and techno-y things and playing with sounds? Because you've been doing like digital music things lately.
I think that has increased my appreciation for it a great deal. But once I got past, it did not take this song long to catch me.
Really?
Or this remix, I should say. The song had already caught me. Paging Mr. Saxophone.
Yeah, because I mean, World's Address is genius, and
and
it's super
what
catchy.
can you add to it? Well, this is what you can add to it if you're Joshua Fried.
Yeah, you just have to make it part of a larger thing.
And I'm just so impressed by what he did to this.
And again, if you told me
what he did and layered the World's Address into,
and if you told me Flansy had done this, I might believe you.
Oh yeah, it's just a lot more ambitious than anything so far that we had seen.
That's true. I also think it's maybe a little weirdly. This is a strange phrase to use. I think it's a little more straightforward than what Flans would have done with it.
Could be. Yeah, Flans wouldn't have left this much of the song intact.
Yeah, and it wouldn't. If Flans did it, it wouldn't be as long. Like what I mean is, it wouldn't be as atmospheric. I think. I don't know that it would have
be
been
as patient.
Yeah, there's something almost like ambient's not the right word, but like it just kind of sits. It's background music.
I like patient,
and then it keeps like
allows itself
hitting you in the head with crazy sounds and ideas. So you kind of get wrapped up in it, where you're just like, you're grooving to it, and then someone at a nightclub has stolen my ideas. Like
it's like. The original song has some verses and a bridge and then another verse. This has the song is like a verse, and then more bits of the song is another verse, and then there's another bridge, and then you have the song.
See, I never even really thought to try to
structure of the song,
break down the structure of it because it's so long, and I just when I think about I think of that almost like a techno song, and when I think of techno music, I think of there's a riff that keeps you engaged, and that sort of like serves as like a drum line or as a bass line, and then it just keeps, and then there's a DJ that just keeps sampling things, just keeps throwing stuff in.
Yeah, it's club stuff. You go in there and you dance.
But it is built around the structure of World's Address, so it'll stop at that bridge, and then it does the bridge.
Yeah. I like this poetry.
So now we're in Nightgown of the Sullen Moon.
Although, this is like Sapphire Bullets to me in that it has a title that's just arresting.
Yeah.
And you're not quite sure, like, okay, if we're going to make a song, where do you go from that?
Yeah.
That Sapphire is probably the least strong song of Flood for me because of the rest of the song just doesn't know how to live up to that title.
Oh, wow. I don't know if I agree with that.
That was how I felt about it anyway.
Wow.
Because the title was so awesome, and then where do you go from there? And this has... I like Nightgown better than I like Sapphire Bullets, but it does set itself up the same challenge. You've got a title that is just a killer assemblage of words in the nightgown of the sullen moon. What the heck do you say after that?
That's fair. I like the simplicity of the song.
Yeah.
It's not overdone.
Forever is a long time.
Those are the kinds of lyrics that
can't argue with that.
That are what got me into this band so hard.
Your head is on the moon.
That song is referenced apparently. I haven't read this. I need to eventually. That song is referenced apparently in issue of Neil Gaiman's Sandman, which means Gaiman listens to giants, which is
that seems absolutely appropriate.
Yeah. Which honestly should come as no surprise to anyone.
They like would turn up and Spawn.
They like phones.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Neil Gaiman and They Might Be Giants both show up in Spawn Year. Well, not like Neil Gaiman the person. He didn't show up in Spawn Year, but he wrote an issue.
He wrote some issues.
Spawn. Yeah. He wrote an issue. It's okay. It's just making fun of the material. He was like, "This is dumb, so I'll write an issue about how dumb it is." That's totally what he did. He just has Spawn sitting in an alley going, "Woe is me, my life is horrible." It's great.
Now this is...
And, of course, he created Angela.
Well, yeah. This is a song I like a lot. And I can see why it's in the B-sides compilation.
I'll see Manhattan. This is one of those big, grandiose ideas.
Yeah.
Where you have just one of these absurd, totally out there notions to write a song about. You have a guy who's so upset. It's another breakup song. A guy who's so upset about a relationship that didn't work out. He's just gonna sink the entire island of Manhattan, and he'll sacrifice friends.
It could have been on Flood.
It could have been on Flood. It should have been on Flood because
maybe it's about too obvious.
Sinking some. Yeah, that's true. Like having a song called "They Might Be Giants" being on a record called "They Might Be Giants."
Yeah, well, that would you just couldn't do that. You can't have a self-titled album with a self-titled song on it.
I think they'll understand my plan, but I'll never be sure. You know why? Because they're all dead, Jeff. That's why. I like the production.
Now it's over. I'm dead.
I like the production of this song. Yeah. It sounds like he's talking about answering machines here. Some of it sounds like it's in an answering machine. I think that's intentional.
It's a kind of a dial-a song.
Yeah, but it's more produced than that. So like it's intentional before
like an homage to
right. Yeah,
the fact that an answering machine was the heart of their band's business.
Yeah, because he's. I feel like they're intentionally creating this sound that sounds like kind of rugged and is off and staticky. Okay.
Like this.
Here it is.
Highlight.
Here it is. This is my favorite Giant song of all time.
The world crumbles like a cake. I keep hanging from the hope.
Now ask me why. This is it's not my birthday. Ask me why this is my favorite Giant song of all time.
Well, it is poetically among the most brilliant things they've ever done.
I was just saying, I don't know. I can't explain it.
It derives more fascinating mileage out of a reference to MacArthur Park than anyone would ever have guessed.
Yeah, that's right.
Possible. And they kept running with it. You know, from the world crumbling like a cake, you're hanging from it, hanging from the hope that I'll never see that recipe again. But it keeps going on, and the rain or evaporate completely.
Yeah.
But there'd be no percentage, or there'd be no proof. And you know what the proof is about in liquor.
I never even thought about that. See, I can't articulate any of this.
they used to, for our viewing audience at home, this was how you proved that whiskey was at least 50% alcohol by soaking a handful of gunpowder with it and then lighting it. And if it burned, then you knew that there was enough alcohol compared to water. If it didn't, then there was too much water in it. So the proof and percentage connection there is coming from that. Not the only dust my mother raised.
I wish Lennell would go to acoustic guitar more often. Yeah. And that's part of what I love about that song is it's a really good, simple, almost folk song, and I mean it's it's a rock song, but it's got those folk roots. That song almost didn't need any production.
Yeah,
it almost could have just been him and his guitar.
And it might have been on Dial Song.
I think some of what, I'm sure it was. Maybe I've even heard that a demo or something. I forget, but I feel like I've heard him do that. I heard him do that song in concert one time, really? And he flubbed up the lyrics that had been so long since they'd played it.
Oh, that's a pity.
No, it was really good though. I mean, he flubbed it up one place. It's not like he couldn't remember any of it. But hello is another one of those simple, regular person words that they go back to a whole lot.
I like this track.
I do too. This is Hello Radio.
They are, if I remember right, they wrote it for a club called Hello that they were involved with.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So this was Hello Radio.
The claw is a claw, and nobody can see that talking claw.
Yeah, this is a litmus test.
No.
Like if you're either a Giants fan
Claw!
And you can appreciate Mr. Claw, or
you're a boring
are never going to be,
and you don't have a sense of humor, and you don't know what funny things are, and if you don't like Mr. Claw, I don't know what to do with you. I don't know what to tell you, but it's hilarious.
I mean, I don't think it makes you a bad person, but
no, but it just I don't want to be friends with you. That's all I'm saying.
You're a boring person.
I'm sure you're a boring person. I'm just joking. Yeah, Mr. Claw is just goofy and weird. This is another one of those things where, like we were talking about last time, these guys have no shame. They'll do anything.
Mr. Lightning Bulb.
Mr. Vanity Claw. I don't know what that was, but I love it.
Yeah. And now it's over.
And again, does not sound like a B-side. That sounds like it should have been on the Pink Album or on Lincoln.
It's just one step beyond being a fingertip.
Yeah, but so is Rabid Child.
Yeah.
So is, I mean, they've got songs that short.
Yeah.
On those early albums.
Exactly. It's one step beyond being a fingertip.
So this is basically, yeah, but I just wanted to mention that they did a lot of that. So
it's part of their charm.
So Kiss Me Son of God, this is essentially the unplugged version.
Yeah.
Just with accordion.
Of their tribute to Jim Jones.
One of this, I forget, I was doing some reading this morning, one of these songs that sounds like an accordion actually is some other instrument that's not an accordion, and I can't remember if it's on this song or if it's on Not My Birthday. One of those songs has something that's not actually an accordion. But anyway, I think this one, it is the accordion, but I'm not sure.
This sure sounds...
It sounds like an accordion.
Like it would have to have been. I mean,
you would love sampled. Me. So we did talk about this already.
Yep.
Another
one of their songs that's really dead on about a real serious event. Because this is Jim Jones. This is his story.
You know, I didn't realize this was actually about anybody in particular.
His cult was based on appropriating Marxist rhetoric.
I thought it was just generally about cultism,
religion, and Christianity, and this was what he said it was about. And he openly said to his friends before he really got rolling that he didn't believe one bit in either of these things.
And he was just using them to take advantage of people, manipulate.
Yeah, so I built a little empire out of some crazy garbage called the Blood.
Yeah.
You know, they're calling me Your Highness. They wrote the song too early for it to be about David Koresh, who would also kind of fit the song. I mean, it's a type. It's the dictator.
Yeah.
And we've got no one to blame but our fat selves.
Yeah. That's true. That's true, too. I'm the biggest one.
Because the biggest one. Drank too much Kool-Aid is one.
This strikes me as one of the songs that kind of helps Miscellaneous T to feel more like a piece, where like it's kind of more little weirdness, just kind of tying things together, gluing it all.
Man, if I had to name a Flan song,
yeah, and again could have been on Lincoln really easily. And this voice he's affecting here, he does in a couple songs on Lincoln.
I've got no one. Lino would have written more words instead of repeating the same ones.
That's true, but obviously repetition can be a really useful device, too.
Yeah. Repetition can be a really useful device, that's true.
Yeah, I think repetition can be a really useful device.
Keep tossing those easy ones.
I think that's true.
One of my favorite tracks on this album.
I love For Science. It's hysterical. And again, real straightforward. It's obvious what this is about. He's just doing a cheesy 50s science fiction movie in a song. That's all this is.
And there's, along with some of the other tracks on this album that are kind of cheesy science fiction references, like Mr. Claw.
Yeah, that's true. But this one just kind of plays out a cheesy science fiction movie.
I'm the hero. Will I?
Yeah, and it's like really morbid and wrong.
For science.
It's just wonderful. I don't know what to say. I'll be her love slave.
Brave. He's so.
This is one of my favorite moments in any Giant song. Yes. So this thing he does at the end, where he says, "Let's get those missiles ready to destroy the universe," that is completely ad-libbed and not written.
Wow.
He just yelled that into a microphone and they put it in the song. That was not planned.
Having a little strange love moment.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So this weird untitled thing with Gloria talking into into the call machine. So if you don't know, the Giants had this system called Dial-A-Song where you could call up and you could listen to the song. And in the early days, it was just an answer machine, and it could it could record, and you could leave messages on it. And the Giants encouraged people to do that. Well, this woman calls in, and she doesn't know that she's being recorded, and she's on a conference call for whatever reason with this friend of hers, and they think this whole thing is ridiculous, and they don't understand what it is. And they took 2 minutes of it and put it on Miscellaneous T and let us listen to it. Are you aware that there's a lot more of it?
Yes.
They go on for like 8 minutes, and I've heard they put out some more excerpts of it. I've heard bits of it, like other bits of it.
It was actually a secret track on one of their EPs.
Okay. But it's just hysterical that they put that there, and they said the reason they didn't play any more of it on this was because the conversation turns to other things and it gets kind of disturbing.
Yeah.
And I haven't heard any of the disturbing parts. I don't think they've released any of the rest of it. I wish they would. I wish they'd put the whole thing out.
But he doesn't make any money off of it.
And I have listened to this too many times.
Then he's a nut, right?
Yeah. Like, I know this conversation too well. It's really proud. They meet at La Maisonette restaurant.
I see.
Well,
how
do they make any money?
Is born in every time you call.
Every time you call, does that make any sense? And how are they making any money off of this?
They sound like all kinds of people.
They sound like all kinds of people, right? They do. The Giants do sound like all kinds of people. It would be fun.
Perceptive insight from.
It would be fun to review this as a review of the Giants.
Yeah.
She says a couple of somewhat profound things without realizing what she's listening to,
or getting the name of the band right.
Yeah, They Must Be Giants.
They May Be Giants?
They May Be Giants. Oh no, They Must Be Giants is the is the guy that introduces them at the beginning of Severe Tire Damage. Yeah. We'll get there. Anyway, so that's what that is. And it doesn't. It's never given a title.
Weirdly fascinating.
Sometimes it says untitled, and sometimes on things it's just not. It's just blank.
Blank.
There's nothing there. So now we get into a slightly different version of Hotel Detective. Like I said, mostly just kind of the reverb is different, and actually, I think this. Am I right about this? I think this is the version that they use for the music video, because I think it fades in like that in the music video, and it doesn't fade in like that on Lincoln.
It could be. I'm ashamed
no, not Lincoln. Not Lincoln. Pink Album.
Pink Album. I've never listened to the two side by side, and I would have to.
Yeah.
To have a clear sense of how it's different.
Yeah, because it's real subtle. They're just different releases.
Yeah. Something in the engineering or something that I'm sure matters a great deal to somebody.
Well, I have that sometimes with cuts of movies.
Yeah.
Recently, there was a new cut of Spider-Man 3, and it's not different enough for me to care. Like, there's some things that are taken out and a couple things that are added, but a lot of what's different about it is just there's a different piece of score here, or there's like little bits in a scene that are taken out, or they use a slightly different take of something.
1 second longer.
Right? Yeah. So yeah, stuff like that, and that's kind of what this is like.
Boy, they're establishing the heck out of that building.
By the way, if you haven't watched any of the new MST3K, some of it's really good.
Oh.
I've watched a couple so far. Just kind of jumping around. I haven't watched it in order, but
to check it out.
Forget about it.
Hotel Detective.
This is one of those songs that is more fun in concert for me.
I bet.
I mean, it's clearly a good concert song.
It's a rock song.
Mm-hmm.
But plus a little bit of imagination.
Right.
And originality.
Whoa.
And minus a little bit of heavy-handedness.
Yeah. Yeah, it's self-aware. It's self-aware about what's silly about the genre, right?
Yeah.
So they just kind of lean into that.
All the funny ways.
Mm-hmm.
And became the seed of a whole series of songs.
Hey! I like the famous polka. I wish they did more polkas because they love the accordion.
Yeah.
Maybe you start stepping on Weird Al Yankovic a little bit if you do too much polka, but...
One of the tracks that made me wonder, how long will it be before Weird Al and They Might Be Giants come together?
And they should have, because obviously Weird Al's a big fan of theirs. Which is interesting because they're inarguable, or he is inarguably a bigger deal than they are, and I don't know if they like him at all. It's kind of interesting.
I never thought to ask.
Yeah. But it's just like, I've heard him talk about them, and I don't know if the feelings are mutual at all. And I imagine they're not, because the Giants don't like to be considered novelty music, and I don't know if they like novelty music.
And I don't know
what they think of as novelty music.
And they've never really done a song.
I also think Al transcends that to the point where you can appreciate him on other levels, but...
I mean... Al parodies songs unless he can't get permission to parody the song, and then he parodies the band.
Right.
And
well, sometimes he parodies the band just because he preferred to parody the band.
But
yeah, sure.
The Giants haven't ever had a song that would...
Well, and
the Al parody technique would apply well to
that seems almost sacrilegious to me. I don't think I would want to see a pastiche of a TMBG song. I mean, I don't think I would want to see a straight up parody of a TMBG song.
Yeah,
but a pastiche in the style is certainly...
That was the right thing to do.
So that is the song that in, I think, the early 90s, and I don't know where, they had too many people climb up on a stage and break the stage.
Oh, wow. The famous polka.
Yep.
Knock at the door.
And I also love the kind of depressingness of the actual lyrics of that song.
Yeah.
And it being in kind of denial, like that guy is like Electro from Spider-Man 3, or from Amazing Spider-Man 2, where he's pretending like people like him more than they do, and like he's got a chance with this famous girl that.
But when the phone inside her ribcage rings, it's not for me. What a beautiful line. This is one of my favorite songs.
Mine too. And again, I love how it gets you with this, because that song could have been that long. They've done this, and then it comes back, and it's in time.
Count the measures out. I just did.
Yeah.
There's enough so they'll never know which one.
Yeah, I really like that that's in time.
Yeah.
That they don't randomly come back like that was rhythmically handled.
Yeah.
It's 2 rotations, I guess.
Something like that. For the snowman to be facing the right direction on the disc.
That's great. It's, well done. Hi, we're the replacements.
Good old rock hook right there.
Yeah. Yeah, wow, we're already almost at the end of this. So now this could have ended this album really well, but I think "Don't Let's Start" is a wonderful album ender. And as I said, with the Pink album, it could have been. Yeah.
Having a good time, rock and roll until the break of dawn.
So it's weird because I kind of think of this and "Hey Mr. DJ" as almost companion pieces, and they're on the same disc.
Sort of a framing thing.
But this song has the love and
the
notoriety.
Replacements are the band from that song?
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think they are. I was actually going to make that point
because the Replacements are a real band.
Yeah, no, they are, and this is somewhat about them. It's not entirely about them, but it's about bands like that, and this was supposed to be dealing with this rumor that was going around that the Giants had been roadies for that band.
Oh.
And I guess that's part of why they wrote it. And I guess for a long time that was still a rumor that went around that people thought that they were roadies for that band. But that's I guess what inspired them to write this.
That makes sense.
But what I was going to say is I feel like this song kind of has the love and notoriety that I would think DJ would have.
Yeah.
And they play this one in concert a lot.
I wonder how the Replacements feel about that.
I'm not sure.
I've never asked.
No, I haven't either. And now we get to "Don't Let's Start," which once again is just a slightly different mix, sound mix. The name of the game with Miscellaneous T, I guess, was reverb. Everything's a little more echoey. Everything sounds like it was in a slightly larger, rounder room.
Because suddenly now we have technology to do that way better than we did.
Yeah, that's a good point. Everything sounds like it was a concert being played in Cerebro. There should be a concert in Cerebro. That'd be awesome.
That would, and it'd all be in your head.
No, I mean there's a room. You couldn't have an audience there.
Yeah.
You'd have to just record it or have Professor X send it out in waves. With Cerebro.
Smell the cat food.
Smell the cat food.
Don't try to stop the tail.
When Jason was littler, he thought that line was "Smell the Captain." And he thought that was so funny, he would not stop going around singing. To the point where I have, in singing along to the song, accidentally sung it wrong. Because I've heard Jason so many times say, "Wake up and smell the captain!"
That's one of my favorite Linnell twists. Wake up, smell the cat food in your bank account. It's not my birthday, of course. It's like one giant Linnell twist.
Yeah. Yeah, everybody dies frustrated inside. And that is beautiful.
Frustrated and sad. And that is beautiful.
I guess it is in sad. I always think it's inside. I think both of those could have worked.
Yeah. Deputy dog dog pa-ding dang, deputy dog dog pa-ding dang, deputy.
Yep. Yeah, we all know the lyrics, okay? We all know the precise nonsense syllables in that section of the song, okay? Yeah, little known fact, one of the things that's different about this is that those nonsense syllables are just slightly no, they're not. They're not.
That would be funny if they were.
Yeah, it would. It's like one of them was Dibbity Dog, and the other one was Diggity Dog. It's just slightly different.
The other was Deputy Dog.
And then Dog Diggity, we found some way to reverse that.
Great songs that don't really make a lot of sense.
Yeah. The Giants could have had an album called that. Or a compilation. Yeah, true. We could have a compilation, I suppose. But yeah. No, that wouldn't really go with their sensibilities exactly. But yeah, so that was Miscellaneous T.
There was. The 3.5th
album. Yeah, and I like I said, I love it. There's that's one that for whatever reason, this is gonna be a weird point to make. I always found Miscellaneous T to be some of their better driving music. Yeah, I don't know why, but that's one that I listen to in the car a lot.
Or at least a lot of the tracks on it.
Yeah, not everything.
I'm not sure the phone message.
Well, yeah. I mean, you could just skip that, but and then a point I was going to make about that. I'm glad you brought that up again because like I had my main thing I wanted to say about that. I didn't get a chance to say. I like to because there's such a big repertoire and there's so much variety with Giants. That is my favorite band to mix. Sure. to shuffle and just take everything. There are a couple albums I leave off. I don't like to put all the kids stuff in, but there is Science and 1, 2, 3. Some of that I like to leave off. There's specific tracks I'll keep in, but I like to make a playlist, shuffle the TMBG music, but leave that in because it's so much fun to see what song gets played right before she says, "Hey, what do you make out of that recording?" Yeah. And I think it was intentionally played right after the most bombastic and weirdest song on the album. So he's like, "Let's get those missiles ready to destroy the universe." Hey, what'd you make out of that recording? Yeah. That's hilarious.
They sound like all kinds of people.
Like all kinds of people.
Yeah, in the Village Voice, they said.
So anyway, any other final thoughts about Miscellaneous T?
Yeah, it's not my birthday. Just still sticking with me.
Oh, and you know what?
We
totally screwed up on Lincoln, or excuse me, on Flood, because the first two videos, we talked about favorite and least favorite tracks.
Oh, yeah.
And concert tracks. We did not do that with Flood. Maybe we could very quickly do that here, because we totally forgot to do that. But let's do it with Miscellaneous T first. So are we in agreement on Birthday, then?
I think so.
I didn't know you liked that song as well.
That, and... Mr. Claw is my favorite off-the-wall wacko song.
Yeah.
Birds
Fly
is a close rival to it. It's
just
musically fun and interesting to me.
Now, for worst, you can't count Gloria calling into an answering machine, okay? You can't count that. It has to be a song. Is there anything on this one that you just don't really care for that much, or that you think is kind of, if there is a weak link, that's the one? I get it. Maybe the biggest one is the closest thing, but it's still fine.
Yeah.
And I think you need that to round that album out as an album if you're going to think of it like an album.
There weirdly isn't anything on there that just turns me off.
Yeah.
There are some songs in there that I can see why they didn't put on one of the official For Reals albums. Like
the For Reals albums.
Like the biggest one, or Hello Radio. I can see why that isn't actually on Lincoln.
Yeah, sure.
But it's intriguing in its way.
So, concert track-wise, interestingly, I've heard much of this in concert. And really? a lot of this is stuff they go to. And obviously, they have a couple of their big heavy hitters retooled a little bit on this album. So I almost think those probably shouldn't count.
That wouldn't count for this.
But I'm going to go for the Replacements. I've heard them play that a lot, and it sounds great live. And Birthday was fun live, too, but obviously not a big produced song. And I think he might have actually done that totally acoustic, and so that would be a real close second.
Feels like it.
But I mean, like, when I saw him live,
version of Mr. Claw.
Oh yeah, no, that would be wonderful.
I'd like to do a live version of Mr. Claw.
Sure, because now it's just performance art, right? And the claw is a claw, and nobody has seen a talking. And you gotta do that Linnell thing that he does whenever they're doing when they're doing the James K. Polk thing. You know that, right? That like in the last verse of James K. Polk, he always, when a lot of the band lays out, and he always just does this all the way through that. And nobody has seen.
The Professor Rotwang kind of.
So real, you can only do that so long. So the real, I'm sorry.
Imagine what it must be like to play the violin.
That's a good point. The last thing we want to do today then is go ahead and also do that for Flood retroactively, because we totally forgot to do that. So that's tough. Best song on Flood. How do you land there? Is it Birdhouse?
I'm gonna pick 4 or 5. Birdhouse.
Because oh boy, you just can't stop talking about Birdhouse.
That's a good song.
Yeah.
It fully deserves to be their outstanding hit as it is. Dead is brilliant.
Dead is brilliant. Whistling in the Dark.
Whistling in the Dark has been part of my soul.
Like with the Birdhouse, you get the Birdhouse whistling in the dark.
Maybe that is the Birdhouse.
In your soul. You made a little birdhouse in your soul for a bird that is whistling in the dark. That's what happened.
I think I have probably 15 or 16 favorite tracks on this album. So
okay, so just the album. Fair. He just loves the album.
Sapphire Bullets is a weak song to me.
Yeah,
because the rest of the song does not live up to that title.
I still don't know if I agree with that.
And it's the spaced outness of it. I don't know. It disappointed me because I hoped for more after it started. I'm not sure I love Hearing Aid.
That was going to be the weak track for me if I had to pick one. As far as my favorite, it's hard not to put Dead up there.
Yeah.
At the very top, and then next to that is probably We Want to Rock.
Yeah.
Concert song wise, obviously Istanbul is brilliant in concert. Yeah. They've done it 150 different ways, and Istanbul.
Whistling in the Dark is a good concert song,
and Particle Man is also a great concert song.
Oh yeah.
They like to. There's a whole list on the TMBG wiki of songs they have in the middle of Particle Man stopped and started singing. They've done it with 9 or 10 things. The one I've heard is Ace of Base. The Sign.
I saw the
Sign. They stop in the middle of Particle Man and they just and entirely on accordion. The whole rest of the band drops off and it's just slowing down. Going, I saw the sign and it opened up my mind. I saw the and then they just sing that song for a while. And then they get back to Particle Man. Yeah, it's wonderful. That's so awesome. Those are both great in concert, and partly because they're fan favorites. I like the live version of Particle Man a lot on Severe Tire Damage. We'll get to that. I like the hit on the head with a garbage can and what the drums do with that. So yeah, and obviously it's hard not to just say this whole album because we've heard this whole album live,
and it was everything we would have hoped.
And as you said, Whistling in the Dark is wonderful live. He pulls out the big drums. But yeah, and it was, I don't know, some of the fun of hearing Flood live was just hearing them do the theme from Flood live. Yeah. It's great, and just the wackiness of 25 years later, like a brand new album for 1990. It's just wonderful.
Memories pressed between the pages.
Memories
of my mind.
So everybody, thanks a lot for watching. We sure appreciate it. Leave your comments and let us know what your favorite tracks from Miscellaneous T are. And we will see you again next time with Apollo 18. That is the next one. So excited.
There it is.
So jazzed for Apollo 18. How in the world we will, how we'll figure out how to talk about fingertips is anybody. But that will be wonderful. And it'll be really hard for me not to call that my favorite concert song on that, because I've seen Fingertips in concert and it's just the best. Yeah, they do it now. Yeah, they go back and forth between Little and Flans.
Ah.
And they rush around and scrape things together to set up for each of the next bits.
Right,
and yeah, it's wonderful.
That would be a thing to see.
For the longest time, they wouldn't do it because that's nuts to try. Then they finally did it, yeah, and it's become a staple. People love it. I think I've seen them do Fingertips 2 or 3 times. Anyway, thanks a lot for watching, folks. We will see you again next time on Whistling in the Dark.
The Dark.
I am Captain Logan and a claw.
And nobody has seen a talking Captain Logan
with his claw. And that might be
Giants.
The Geoff. See you later, folks.